Hi everyone, I'm Chris Baber and welcome back to another Sparks Live. We have got two delicious recipes for you tonight using these M&S sweet Rosso tomatoes. And I say we because I'm not on my own. I'm joined by my friend, Director of Product, April Preston.
Wow, it's lovely to be here. Now, I'm going to be sharing a few drinks ideas, but the real reason I'm here is because I want to taste Chris's cooking. I just happened to be nearby and I could smell gorgeous, fragrant tomatoes. So I know that's what it's all about tonight, isn't it, Chris?
Well, to be honest, I'm here because I thought you were doing drinks. So I think we've got...
Well, we can swap, we can share.
I was here for a drink. Anyway, we've got two amazing tomato recipes for you tonight using these M&S sweet Rosso tomatoes. As you know, at the minute, I'm traveling around the country, visiting different farms. This recipe hasn't been on the TV yet, so I'm going to get ahead of the game for you Sparks customers. And as always tonight, any questions, get them up on the screen, and we'll answer as we go. The first recipe is my tomato and burrata bruschetta.
I'm going to interrupt you there because I think we need to tell the lovely, lovely audience out there that the recipes are online, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all online.
And the cards are in store for everything you've cooked.
Yeah, you can pick them all in store. And do you know what? We're going to get the recipe on screen now for anyone at home cooking along. You've got all of the ingredients up there. So you should have it all prepped and ready to go.
It's actually quite simple, these recipes, aren't they? I was surprised, but the flavor hit is incredible.
They're so simple. And you know, when we're using quality tomatoes like this, you've got to keep it simple because that is the star of the show. You don't need to add loads of things to it. That has been the joy of these sort of fresh M&S ingredients we're using. When they're that good, it makes the cooking just so much easier, doesn't it, to impress people? So
it tastes like tomatoes used to taste when we were young. I was lucky. I was brought up on a farm, so I know how tomatoes should taste. And these are, if you've ever had those horrible ones that you get in some places, these are absolutely brilliantly fragrant.
You know, everyone says you should have tomatoes at room temperature, but little tip from Andy, the farmer, he said these are so sweet and flavoursome. If you're eating them as a snacking tomato, to actually have them out of the fridge, just a few, he said the best way to think about it is, you know, when you have that first sip of an icy cold beer, because there's so much flavour and there's like a pop of freshness in your mouth. And you know what? I thought, I'll give that a go. Unbelievable.
Oh, well, I can't wait to taste it. Now, do we think everybody's had enough time to get their ingredients recipe? Because I'm desperate to taste this bruschetta.
Well, we're going to get straight into it. So for the bruschetta, we're going to start with the tomatoes. We've just quartered them up. These are at room temperature, these ones. In they go to a bowl.
Can I just, sorry, I've just noticed we've got a question. Not supposed to. Helen is asking, can we use any tomatoes? Because her particular M&S didn't have any sweet Rosso in stock.
Any of the summer selection. I mean, in 2019, I went out to the Isle of Wight where there's a guy called Brian growing the most amazing summer selection of tomatoes. You're onto a winner with whatever you pick, to be honest.
In M&S, I mean, Brian Morley on the Isle of Wight, he is one of our brilliant growers, isn't he? And you're lucky enough you've been around to all of these places.
Guy. He has a tomato sandwich for lunch every single day.
That's Coles Newcastle. And, but they have got so much passion and well, no, I'm going to let you go on the recipe. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, they really have got so much passion for it. Tomatoes in a bowl. We've got some red onion going in, just finely chopped. If you're not keen on red onion, obviously you can leave it out. Some basil leaves go in. Just the leaves. You don't really need the stalks in here.
And if you were leaving the onion out, would you just leave it, not put anything in? Or could you chuck in some capers or olives?
You could throw capers in, olives in, or a few more tomatoes.
Yes.
You know?
Yellow ones, so you got a bit for me?
Yeah, a bit of colour.
Yep.
Throw in some basil leaves.
The fragrance is incredible. I mean, basil is always very fragrant, but it's the tomatoes that are really scenting the room, I think.
Like you say, it's how a tomato should smell and should taste. And then a little bit of seasoning in there. Bit of salt. A little bit of pepper.
And so healthy.
Yeah, really healthy and fresh. And some extra virgin olive oil goes in.
Now, which one are you using there? Where would you recommend to get your olive oil from?
Well, M&S, of course. But an extra...
Any particular country you like for this dish? Or not really?
Do you know what? I use like an Italian olive oil, but you had a bit of an olive oil.
Well, yes. So if you haven't found it yet, it's gone in stores very recently. We've launched a cold-pressed, unfiltered olive oil, which if you've never tried, it's £4 a bottle. It goes a long way, but it's brilliant for this sort of thing because not only is it, because it's cold-pressed, it retains all the flavour of the olives, but it's also much healthier for you. It's full of goodies. So look out for that one when you're in store.
And because you're not cooking with it as well, it's great just to dress things. But we just need to stir that all through together. And, you know, we're just going to leave that, and the flavors will just develop from the basil, the tomatoes, the olive oil, and that salt is just going to draw a little bit of the moisture and the juices out from the tomato. Now at home, if you haven't toasted your bread, I've already toasted mine. We've got this M&S Bakery San Fran sourdough. Slice it up. You can do it in a griddle or in the toaster. When it comes out, just give it a drizzle of oil. So that is your job to crack on to. But what is so special about the sourdough from M&S?
Well, it's made to an authentic recipe, and it's got that lovely, lovely balance of sourdough. It's got great texture, crust on the outside and chewy on the inside, and it makes brilliant toast. If you've got, you know, if you've forgotten about it and it's a couple of days old, don't throw it away. Make toast or bruschetta because it's incredible.
It's the perfect vessel for this, isn't it?
Sorry, did I get the answer wrong? That's
oh no, I'm just
exciting about the bread.
No, I think it is. I'm just thinking it is the perfect vessel. The size of it, a couple of bites, delicious.
Perfect. Now, somebody's asked, can you use spring onions, the white or the green, instead of the red onions?
Yeah, absolutely. You could spring onions, use what you've got at home, you know. And while people are toasting their breads off at home, April, what is the first drink you have in store for us tonight?
Well, it's not here.
Oh, it's not here.
I'm going to have to go and get it. So you're going to have to carry on.
Let's carry on.
The reason I haven't got it is because it's a frozen drink. So I need to go and grab it from the freezer, and I will be back in 1 minute. You crack on with the next bit.
Yeah, so at home you should have your tomatoes in the bowl with some olive oil, salt, pepper, the red onion, and some basil leaves. Give that a nice stir through together. And now is the time to be toasting off your San Fran sourdough. I've done mine in a griddle, and just a drizzle of oil on the top. You can put a bit of salt on there if you want to. And then we'll come to the burrata later on. And I'm just going to give this frozen drink a go in a minute. And also another thing to point out, get your kettle on because we're going to be making pasta really quite soon. So I've got a pan here full of boiling water, which I've seasoned up with some salt. Get that at the ready.
I'm coming.
Yeah. And the smell from this really is amazing. I've had the privilege of meeting these farmers across the UK, and it's the passion, and it's like a labour of love for all of them that I've met. And it's no wonder that the product tastes this good when the people in this country just care so much about the produce. I mean, have a little taste of this now at home. Oh, here we go.
I'm back. Now, in the immortal words of Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier. What we've got here, Chris, have you ever had a frosé?
Do you know what? I haven't. And I was out for lunch yesterday, and everyone was raving on about frosé, so we got the timing quite right.
So frosé, if you haven't had it, I'm sure lots of you are drinking it already. You start with some straw. Well, no, actually, you have to start the night before. It's like a alcoholic frozen slushy for adults.
Yeah,
not
I like
for children.
the sound of that.
So the night before you want to serve it or drink it, you have to pop a bottle of rosé into the freezer. Don't put it in the bottle. Put it in a flat tray because it freezes really, really well then. The best type of rosé is if there's a tiny little bit of residual sugar, because that really helps the drink. So what we're using here today is this amazing Southern French light pink rosé from the Classics range, £8. So that goes into the freezer the night before. Then all you have to do is you get a blender, get some incredible red diamond M&S strawberries. Now they have to be red diamond because again, they are full of flavor, full of fragrance. All you have to do is to blitz them up in a blender. You add a little bit of sugar to taste, depending on how sweet you like your drinks. And then you add in the frozen rosé, and what you get is this incredible, I don't know which glass to put it, we'll try it here.
Look at this.
Now what I love to do, you can see it's very thick.
Last time I had a slush, I think I was at a bouncy castle party.
There you are. You don't put on the floor like I just did. There you are, Chris. So what I love to do is, this has literally just come out the freezer, but if you just leave it for a couple of minutes, it goes slightly more liquidy. Do a great big jug of it because you don't want to be going back faffing around again. And once you've got a jug of it, put some lovely fresh strawberries into it as well, and a little bit of mint, and you can sip on that all day. It's a little bit dangerous because it does taste like it's non-alcoholic, but it's brilliant. It's beautiful colour, brilliant for a really hot day. I'm going to have some.
Shall I get stuck into this?
You get stuck in. Tell me what you think.
I'm looking forward to this.
I didn't put hardly any sugar in this one because I don't like it too sweet.
And also, the red diamond strawberries are so sweet. You're probably not going to need much sugar anyway, are you?
Tell me what you think. I'll tell you what, under these lights. That's what you need.
Something special, that April.
It is pretty good, actually. It's I can definitely recommend it.
That is like seriously good and so easy to make. That ain't gonna last long.
No. Well, let's try and get through the recipes before we finish the bottle.
Yeah, probably a good idea. So your bread, you got it nicely toasted off. All we have to do is start piling the tomatoes on top. So literally a spoonful or so on each. And you can see the sort of juices and the oil from the tomatoes just drizzling down into the bread. It's going to soak it all up.
Now, just can I ask you a question? Yeah. Because you said that the flavours start to mingle and macerate, and obviously a little bit like the strawberries macerating, the juices come out. Is there an ideal length of time? I mean, would overnight be too long? You want to do it?
Yeah, I think overnight it'd be too long. I mean, even just sort of like 15, 20 minutes, half an hour at room temperature is probably enough. And, you know, you can go away. By the time you've done your bread, it's done this. I don't think there's any scientific amount of time, but overnight, probably a bit too much.
They would go too soft, wouldn't they?
A bit too soft. But what you could do, if you had a load of this left over, you could throw in some bread and you've made a panzanella salad, haven't you?
Or a gazpacho if you blitz it after the frozen.
But to be honest, I don't think much is going to get left over here, is it?
I do think, though, that stage, even if it's 15 minutes, really helps.
Makes such a difference.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody had enough time to get those marinating. Somebody's asking me, I think Mark is saying his wife wants to know where my dress is from. This is a Marks & Spencer's dress. Ooh. I only ever wear Marks & Spencer's. I chose it tonight because I thought it went with the amazing strawberries, raspberries and tomatoes. And it's part of the M&S collaboration with Ghost. They are absolutely brilliant, those dresses. If you buy one for your wife, she will be very happy.
I've just had a tomato that is so sweet and delicious. And this is the point where you can add a bit more salt, a bit more pepper, whatever you want to do.
It tastes like holiday.
Yeah, it does. And, and a holiday in the UK, that is. Tomatoes in Britain are outstanding. Now, the burrata cheese, it's not going to be a burrata bruschetta without the burrata. For anyone that doesn't know what burrata is, can you fill them in?
Well, first of all, I think Nicola has said that her local store didn't have burrata. So, yes, you can use mozzarella because mozzarella and burrata are very similar. Burrata's like the naughty older sister of mozzarella. So it's an incredible creamy soft cheese, just like mozzarella, but it's filled with double cream.
You can sort of see that's just going to ooze out, isn't it? It's a bit
wobbly when you cut it open, and I'm sure Chris will show us in a minute. It oozes out, but it's incredible. And I really hope, Nicola, you manage to find one in your store soon because it is in wide distribution. But if you like mozzarella, you'll definitely like this.
Well, I'm going to rip into it. You don't need to use a knife, you know, just literally spoon, fork, whatever you want, and you will see the cream just oozing out of there. Look at that.
Oh.
And that is the burrata goodness that we're looking for. And you've got the sort of sweet tomatoes with the basil and the onion, and that creaminess is just going to complement it so well. I'm literally salivating here.
Somebody's asking, should you ever wash basil? What's your view on that? I've got a view, Chris. What do you think?
Personally, no, because you're going to almost sort of wilt the leaves down. You want to keep that freshness that's in there.
They get bruised, don't they?
Yeah, they do get bruised.
They go a bit black and slimy, so I never wash mine. Sometimes if you're worried that they're, got a little bit of grit on them, just dust them off with some kitchen towel. We
just spoon that burrata cheese over the top. I mean, so simple. And when ingredients are this good, you really don't need to do much to them. And we made this for the family, that grow these tomatoes in the UK, and what a privilege to sort of be able to do that for them. Look at that.
So somebody is asking if we do gluten-free bruschetta. We don't do gluten-free bruschetta, but we do gluten-free bread, which makes fantastic bruschetta. So exactly the same as Chris has done here with the sourdough. You just toast it yourself, rub it with a bit of olive oil. If you can get some charring on it, even better. I like to cook mine on the barbecue, actually, because you can do something like this to keep everybody happy whilst you're cooking the things that take a bit longer, like the burgers, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Pile that on top.
Look at the colour on that. I mean, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
You finish it off with a little bit more basil on top. It's like all the colours there of the Italian flag, right? Look at that.
It's so simple as well.
So simple. And we sort of say it all the time, but when the tomatoes and everything is this good, you don't need to do a stack of things to it, do you? And that's our starter just about done.
Wow.
Look at that. So
So
simple.
we're going to dig in later, aren't we?
We're going to dig in later. Obviously, if you're at home and you can't wait, have yourself a little snack. Get into it.
Do they need to be doing something while we're clearing up here?
Get your kettle on. Make sure you've got your saucepan ready to go with boiling water. This will literally pop this out the way. And then onto the mains.
So you're popping your pasta in now?
I'm going to, yeah. Let's just get that water up to the boil. We'll give everyone a second just to catch that up. Let's get the ingredients for this really easy. Prawn spaghetti. And, you know, we got spaghetti. You can use any pasta shapes you've got in the cupboard. And if you want to make this veggie, by all means, just leave out the prawns because you just make a really simple tomato pasta. So you can see we've got spaghetti. We've got these sweet Rosso tomatoes. That is the star of the show for me. Some olive oil, some sliced garlic, some chili if you want it in, and a little bit of basil. It really is so simple. And the joy of a pasta recipe like this, April, is that the sauce takes less time to cook than the pasta itself.
Wow.
So you can chuck the pasta and it's perfect for sort of a family weeknight meal. Or, you know, it's actually quite impressive if you're trying to impress someone, bit of a date night dinner. And I'm sure a glass of that rosé would go down a treat with it, wouldn't it?
It would go down perfect. I'll tell you what, so many children love prawns, don't they? I mean, my three, when they were little, they used to eat them like sweets. They are absolutely delicious. But if you don't want prawns, you mentioned you could do it without, but I'm assuming you could put maybe halloumi in there, little cubes of halloumi or something else.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going to drop our pasta into our boiling water. So I've seasoned the pasta water. And the reason we season the water is it's going to help flavour the pasta. Because let's be honest, pasta on its own can be quite bland. So you want plenty of water in the pan. And it just keeps it moving around. That's what's going to stop it from not sticking. You don't need oil or anything in there. Just plenty of water is the key.
And you're using spaghetti, but I'm assuming you could use any pasta shape for this sauce, could you?
Any pasta shape you want. I think the spaghetti just looks quite nice and it's quite fun to eat.
Have you, Jo, who's watching in, has just made the bruschetta, and her 18-month-old is absolutely devouring it. So well done, Jo.
Do you know what?
Your 18-month-old is eating something incredibly healthy, and well done them for trying things and experimenting.
It's the thing, right? Like this food, it's so simple to make, and it's great for the family, no matter what age you are. When tomatoes are this sweet, it's almost like eating sweets, isn't it?
It is.
It really is delicious.
Now,
So
I'm not sure we want to watch you boiling pasta, do we? Shall I talk about another drink?
Give me 30 seconds. I'm desperate to try this drink.
Sorry, I'm taking over. He's in charge,
But
really.
what we're going to do, we've got a pasta on. We'll get this just cooking away, and then we've got plenty of time. And in fact, I need another swig of that, to be honest. Can we get the recipe for that online?
Yes, we can put that online. It's not on there yet, but we'll
we'll get it on there
online.
because everyone's going to want to try that.
You could also make it with raspberries, actually.
Yeah, any
or even
seasonal
blackberries.
fruit.
Any fruit would work really well if you're not a big fan of strawberries, although I can't imagine anyone isn't.
We'll jump back into this. Get your frying pan, large frying pan. We've sort of got a wok going on here. Splash of extra virgin olive oil goes in there. Sort of medium heat, because any hotter and you might burn that olive oil. We've got some sliced garlic straight into the hot oil. And just give it a second or so to come up to temperature. So what is the next drink, April? What is it we're going to be doing?
Right. Well, I know, contrary to popular opinion,
tomatoes into there.
I do sometimes drink non-alcoholic drinks, and I know lots of you will want non-alcoholic drinks. Am I going to be drowned out while you're frying?
We shouldn't be, no.
Hopefully everyone can hear me. Right. There's. I'm going to recommend a couple of things for you now. So the first thing, if you're not drinking alcohol at the moment, I don't know whether you've ever seen this 0% botanical. It's a really, really lovely flavour. It's got pink peppercorns. It's got juniper. And I got it pointed the right way. There we go. And it's got similar flavours to a gin. It's not exactly a gin, but it's got those similar flavours. So if you like gin, and you're just not drinking, this is great. What I'm going to do is I've created something that I'm going to call a peachanical, unless anybody online wants to come up with a better name for it. So the first thing I'm going to do, we pureed some peach earlier. So I've just got a little bit of peach puree.
And just to quickly interrupt you there, for everyone at home, we've got the olive oil, the garlic and tomatoes in the pan, pinch of salt and pepper gone in there. And we're just going to cook that for 3 or 4 minutes just to soften down. You don't need anything else. There's going to be juice from the tomatoes. So just let that cook away. Back.
So I've put the peach juice in the bottom of the glass. I'm adding a little bit of this botanical, which is full of fragrance. And then the last thing I'm going to add, now these were only launched a couple of weeks ago, so you might not have all discovered them yet. I'm going to have to grab one from the front, which is here. So this is a range of 3 sparkling waters that are flavored, but they're absolutely brilliant because they're only 1 calorie per can. There's no artificial flavors and there's no sugar in there at all. So they're an absolutely great product. They come in 3 flavors. I'm using the peach and apricot now. We've got a raspberry and blackberry, and we have got a lemon and yuzu. Now you can drink any of them on your own. Sorry, not on your own, on their own. They make a really lovely, refreshing drink if you're worried about calories or sugar or artificial sweeteners. But what I'm going to do with it now to make a lovely cocktail is I'm just going to top that botanical. There you go.
Cheers.
Up with this.
Hey, I'm living the dream here, cooking some British tomatoes, drinking cocktails.
Cheers.
With April. Cheers. Here we go.
So it's not, I mean, it's really,
So
I think
nice.
sometimes with non-alcoholic drinks, they're a bit boring actually. But what you've got there with those 3 elements, so the peach water, the peach juice, and this botanical, which is only £12 a bottle, and I'll tell you, a little goes a really, really long way. Because you've got real complexity, layers of flavour. It just makes it more interesting, and it feels really adult, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's
it
not
does.
like just drinking fruit juice or something like that. It's
delicious.
just a really lovely, refreshing drink if you
I'm enjoying
don't
a
want to
bit
have
of
the
that.
alcohol.
Right, back on to your pasta sauce. So you can see the tomatoes there. They've started to cook down, slightly softening. Let's lift a few up. Just softening off. And it's creating its own sauce. Now, in with the prawns. So we've got these prawns. They were just, you can use cooked prawns. You can use them from the freezer for convenience. Add them straight in. They're already cooked. So we don't need to cook them through. We just need to heat them through. That really isn't going to take long. Just a few minutes. Let's just keep on stirring that through. Ooh. I mean, so simple. One thing to mention, I haven't put any in, just for like a family-friendly version. You can leave the chili out, or if you want to, you can throw a little bit of chili. You can put it in now if you want a bit of heat, or you could garnish it on at the end, but that's not essential. It's just not for everyone. And along with that, I'll save some basil to garnish, but I'm going to add some of the basil in there now just to cook down into the sauce. And the smell coming off there. And, you know, this is the sort of thing that you go to like a fancy Italian restaurant, you see like prawn linguine or prawn spaghetti on the menu. You pay a fortune for it. You can do it yourself at home with some good quality ingredients. Drop in some of the basil leaves. Give it a stir. Just a few more minutes to warm that through. And also keep an eye on your pasta. Keep it moving. We don't want to overcook it. We want a little bit of bite. Is this the sort of thing you would make at home, April?
Yes. Now I've seen you do it.
Yeah.
I tend to make very complicated things, unfortunately, because it's partly my job to do lots of research. So my family are guinea pigs, and they don't very often get a lovely, simple meal like this. Somebody, I think, is asking what yuzu is. Do you know what yuzu is, Chris?
Yeah, it's like a Japanese citrus fruit, isn't it?
It is. It is a citrus fruit. So it adds that lovely, refreshing citric note to anything. It's not quite grapefruit. It's not quite orange. It's not quite lemon. It's sort of all on its own. But if you like those type of fruits, you'll love yuzu. It's great in dressings as well, isn't it? Particularly for Japanese style food. You can use it with soy sauce. It's a lovely ingredient. It goes really well with lemon.
I tell you what, that slush is. I'm
I
all
see
over
you're going
that.
for that one, not the non-alcoholic one. I'll tell you what, I might be finishing this dish off.
You might have to.
Agnes has said, have we used tinned peaches or fresh peaches? Agnes, we've used fresh peaches. Tinned peaches, I think, might be a tiny bit sweet, but if you like your cocktail sweet, you could probably go with that. Sorry, my mic's coming off.
Probably a good way to use them that have been in the back of the cupboard for however many years, and you need to get rid of the tinned peaches.
Yes, I mean, it's worth a try. I'm actually going to try that, Agnes. I think that's a good idea. The other thing that you could use is you could use passion fruit. That'd be nice. Just the juice of passion fruit, maybe a few seeds on the top. You could use raspberries with the raspberry and blackberry sparkling water, that might be nice as well. But I thought because we'd done the frosé with the strawberries, we would try something different with the peaches.
This is smelling great, isn't it? It's doing really well. So I think another minute just to make sure the prawns are nicely heated through. And the longer you sort of cook it, the more those tomatoes cook down, and it's almost like a jammy, sweet consistency. And a lot of recipes, you know, they call for a pinch of sugar here and there with tomatoes. Not with these, because they are genuinely so sweet and delicious. But this really is this is proper home cooking, you know,
yeah,
good quality ingredients, quick, simple. We're all like out and about again now. So you want to get in, rustle something up that you know is going to deliver on flavor, but minimum effort, not much washing up, and it's going to keep you and your family happy. Well, definitely keep me happy. I know that much.
Ange is asking whether she doesn't eat fish. She says, can she use smoked garlic in that instead?
Well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. I'll tell you what, this is great, this program. You get lots of great ideas. Yeah. Talking of ideas, if you haven't seen this yet, this is the Fresh magazine available in store. It's got lots and lots of recipe ideas and top tips for tomatoes particularly, but lots of other things as well. And it's a fantastic read. So look out for that, and that's available in your local store. I mean, I read it cover to cover. It's brilliant, and actually I cook a lot of products out of it, a lot of recipes out of it.
And as well as other things you can pick up in store, we've got the recipe cards behind us. You can always pick up the Fresh Market recipes in store. This is in store, and this will all be on TV in the next couple of weeks. And these prawns are done now.
Are you looking really to drive off all that liquid from the tomatoes? So you don't want too much liquid. You're really concentrating the flavour.
Yeah, so that's right. The more water you evaporate, the more you're going to intensify the flavour. And we're going to get a little bit of liquid coming across from the pasta. So save washing up. You don't need the colander. Get yourself some tongs straight in to those prawns and tomatoes. And any of this left over, chill it down, have it for your lunch the next day.
Could you add a bit more olive oil and maybe a little bit of lemon juice and eat it as a salad?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. However, I don't think there'll probably be any left the next day, will there? By the time we've had a go on this.
Now, somebody said we didn't mention when we put when you added the chili, and can you just recap on the recipe start to finish?
Yeah, so the chili's sort of an optional extra. You can add that in with the garlic at the start. I added some in with the tomatoes, or you can actually garnish it with the chili. So a full recap would be olive oil in the pan, in with your sliced garlic, cook that just for 30 seconds. You want the flavor of the garlic to sort of infuse into the oil. You're basically making your own garlic oil. Throw in your tomatoes, good pinch of salt and pepper. Cook the tomatoes down just for a few minutes till they start to soften. In with our prawns, and then warm them through. In with the pasta, a little bit of basil, a bit more basil goes in. And that's done, you know. You can turn it off the heat. And the reason we keep the pasta al dente is because when we add it to the sauce, it will continue to cook in the sauce, but soak up all of the flavors. So you should always add pasta to the sauce. You wouldn't just want a plate of pasta and pile the sauce on top. It's going to taste completely different. But I mean, look at that.
Now, there's a controversial question. Some people say you shouldn't put cheese on fish pasta. What's your view? Parmesan, for example. Would you put that on a fish pasta dish?
My view is, if you like it, do it.
That's my view.
Because, you know, certain regions in Italy, you'd start grating the Parmesan on, they'd be like, oh, it's not how they do it. However, it's your house you're making this in. And that, for me, is the joy of cooking at home. Whatever you like, there are no rules. If you like Parmesan on there, who's going to stop you? So give it a go. If you've got a bit of Parmesan in the fridge, you can throw a bit on.
Several people, including Kish, have asked what they can use instead of prawns. Now, we talked about halloumi.
Yeah.
Kish, I don't know if you're a meat eater or not, but I'm assuming you could fry up some little strips of chicken at the beginning if you wanted to. A
little bit of chicken, some pancetta or something would be delicious. But for me, instead of prawns, I would genuinely keep it as a veggie recipe because these sweet rosso tomatoes are seriously good. And you're almost making that like a classic pomodoro sauce, which is one of the most simple and delicious things. And I think what I love most probably about Italian food is they treat good quality ingredients with respect, and you can really keep it simple and end up with the most amazing plate of food. So I'm going to serve a bit of that up.
So you could do it completely veggie. I mean, tomato and Parmesan are the best combination of flavors, but if you're vegan, you can get vegan Parmesan. You can get it in M&S, in fact, and it works equally as well. Elaine's asking, can we use salmon? Yes, I think you could use
100%.
salmon. Smoked or fresh or either?
You could use either, you know. You could either fry the salmon in there, you could bake it off in the oven, you could stir in some like hot smoked salmon. You can really do what you want with it, you know. Make it your own, whatever you like at home. Tell you what, let's just
You're
pile
not
it
going to
in.
ask me to eat that in front of the camera with that. Unless you get your scissors out and chop the spaghetti down. I don't
Chop
really
it down. Hey, we can get the bread, so get a knife and fork in. Look at that. Plenty of prawns on there. And, you know, if you actually left the prawns out and you didn't put parmesan, that would be a vegan dinner, you know. I think a lot of the best vegan food I like is the food that just sort of happens to be vegan. And do you have another drink for us before we dive in?
I do, but before I take you on to the last bit of fun on the drinks, I do need to show this bottle again because somebody's asked to see it. Don't know if we got that. It's actually, well, I know it's really beautiful because I was there when we designed it, but it's really stunning. We've got an amazing design team here at M&S, and that illustration is beautiful. We also do actually a non-alcoholic gin and tonic in a bottle and in a can. Those are also brilliant. But what I'm going to do now, and this is a bit of fun, really, and I think this is one for the children, although it's also for the adult children, and I think it's an ideal end of the meal, kind of dessert stroke drink.
Well, I don't know what this one is.
Right. So I'm sure you've heard of Percy Pig.
Yeah, I might have heard of Percy Pig.
I don't know if you've seen our Percy Pig Pop, which we've got here. Now, some of you might think Percy is strawberry, because I quite often get asked, you know, is Percy Pig strawberry? He's not actually, he's raspberry and grape. It's a very unusual flavour combination, but anything that we make that's got Percy on it is made to that flavour. Now, we've got this Fizzy Pop, which is a very nice drink on its own, £2.75 a bottle. But what I'm going to do is to make it into, I've got enough glasses here, a special drink that you can give to the children at the end of the meal. It's no added sugar, this one, actually. I know it looks pink and a bit garish, but that's Percy's colours. So what you do is you get your Percy Pop, fill up a glass, go quite high, because it makes it more dramatic.
What's the name of this drink?
Well, I'm looking for a name, actually, because I only invented it today.
Oh, did you? Wow.
Percy Floats Away is what I've called it at the moment.
Floats Away.
But then what you take, and sorry, because it's very hot in here, this has gone a little bit soft. But this is the Percy Pig Ice Cream. Now, if you tasted the Percy Pig Ice Cream last summer, we felt we didn't quite get it right, and we wanted to go again. So we've got a new recipe this year. And what it is, it's vanilla and Percy ice cream, Percy swirls, marshmallows. It's
Look at that.
Can you see there? But what I'm going to do, so I've just, like you'd make a Coke float, I've put Percy ice cream on the Percy Pop with a Percy straw, and I am going to finish it. Look, it's overflowing. That's the drama of it.
There's something nostalgic about an ice cream float. It was the sort of thing my granddad used to make for me all the time, but it would be like dandelion and burdock or something.
Sorry, I did slightly overfill it. I was trying to go for the drama, but...
Drama.
Got the drama. It's a live show. We like it when things go wrong, don't we? But also, we've just launched these Percy sprinkles. Can you get them? There we go. These are absolutely brilliant. They can be used for lots and lots of things. I think they just make that a bit more exciting for your children.
I think I'm going to be out with a mop and bucket later.
Yeah,
I've made a right mess.
I'll be down there.
That is delicious. And there's something fun about that, getting the kids involved. We've got all the foam up the sides.
Oh, Boris has just come up with When Pigs Fly. I like that.
Oh.
And Kish, Percy's Paradise.
Well, what a feast we've got here tonight. So you should have your pasta all plated up. You can finish it off just with a few more basil leaves on top, just like that. We've got this absolute feast of the tomato bruschetta there. You can finish it off if you want, just a tiny drizzle more olive oil on there. And if you had the unfiltered, obviously that would be perfect.
Sue's asking if you did use halloumi, would you cook it first?
What I would do is just dice it up and pop it in when you do the garlic, just to give it a little bit of colour and caramelization on the outside.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, just put it all in the same pan. I think we're going to have a little taste of this, you know.
I think
tried
but
your cocktails.
don't eat spaghetti. Can you camera go off me when I'm tasting the spaghetti? The Percy sprinkles are available in all stores now, actually, in the baking aisle, where you can buy all the flour and sugar and that sort of thing. And we also do Colin the Caterpillar sprinkles, which if you're family love Colin the Caterpillar. I made some cupcakes at the weekend and they were absolutely brilliant. They loved it. Stuck some of the Colin faces, the mini faces that we also sell on top of it.
Are you allowed to answer this or not? If you could only pick one, Colin or Percy, and anyone watching, in the comments, what would it be? Do you have a number one?
Of all the Percy products we sell, my absolute favourite is, I haven't got any here, unfortunately. Yeah. They're the Percy biscuits. They're jam and cream biscuits. They're £1 a pack. My children love them. They're sandwiched together with jam and cream in the middle. And what is so brilliant about them, they've got Percy's front face on the front and his little tail on the back. The detail on it is incredible. Love them. They're
delicious. And Christina's asking, when is the next event? The next event will be next month. And that is another special guest. This time it might just be a celebrity guest going to be joining me. So stay tuned for all of the details on that one, guys.
I'm most upset by that, Chris.
What?
I'm going to be sent off in place of a celebrity.
You will be back. That is for sure. Anyway.
I hope so, because I want to eat some more of this amazing food.
Well, let's give it a try. And any more questions, get them up there. And these recipes, you know, they're online, they're in store. And it's right here in front of you tonight. You've got the most amazing Italian-inspired feast. And you've got to stay tuned for all of my travels this week. The next Fresh Market Update recipes. We've got 2 incredible pork recipes. One is a dinner. One's like a breakfast brunch. I think you're going to love them. And then just continue to follow the journey, meeting these amazing British farmers and suppliers that make M&S food so good. So I'm going to dive into that. There's not really a polite way of doing it.
No, I had to cut mine in half.
Wow.
Can't talk now, can we?
Those tomatoes are so sweet. And that creamy burrata cheese on top. I think this is the sort of thing you're going to go back and make again. That is absolutely delicious. We've got 4 of them each and a massive bowl of pasta to get through.
We could be here for some time.
And I've got to say thank you so much for all the drinks tonight. I think my Mark's fave tonight has got to be the slush. That is delicious.
The frosé or the Percy?
Oh, the frosé.
Frosé.
The frosé for me. And I guess that is it for tonight. If you've cooked along, please do share your recipe pictures. Tag me, tag April, tag M&S, tag everyone. Sign up to the next Sparks Live event. Check your emails. Tell your friends. And we cannot wait to see you next time. Enjoy your dinners, all I can say. I know I will. Thank you.
Happy tomato eating.
That
I want to touch into the pasta, but I can't until we've finished.
I'm going to finish this. I know I am.